What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Coding with Robbie. So the hot topic right now is Vercel changing their pricing. So Vercel is the creators of NextJS, and they have their hosting service where basically just connect to your repo and it handles the rest. But with these new price changes, a lot of people are complaining that their bills are now too high and they're looking to migrate to other services. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to take a NextJS site and host it on DigitalOcean. All right, so here's the code for the app we're going to be hosting. This is available on GitHub. I'll link it in the description. But it's just a basic Next.js app, and it connects to a Postgres database via Prisma. That's about it. There's a couple components. There's not much to it. If you don't have a DigitalOcean account yet, you can use my link in the description. You'll get a $200 credit. But once you sign up, it'll make you create a team, and you'll have a dashboard like this. And we're going to host our app on a Droplet. So let's go to Droplets on the left. And we're going to create a new Droplet. For region, you can select whatever you want. I'm going to leave it at San Francisco. Coming down, we're going to want Ubuntu. And then for size, I'm going to go basic, regular. And I tried it on the $4 one. It's not going to work. You're going to need more than 512 megabytes of RAM to build your site. So it works on the $6 one, so I'll go with that. Coming down, we can leave all this empty. And then for authentication method, I want to connect via SSH, so I'll check that. And we have to add our SSH key. So if you don't have a SSH key yet, you can open up Terminal. Or if you're on Windows, you can open up Git Bash. If you don't have Git Bash, install Git. But once you have it open, you just type SSH-keygen. This is going to create an SSH key for us. So I'll leave the default path. And I'm not going to have a passphrase on mine, so I'll leave it empty. And it just created our key. So to see what our key is, we can go cat. And it's going to be within the .ssh folder /id. Now id underscore RSA is the private one. We want .pub, which is the public side. I'll enter that command. It's going to print it out for me. So let's copy this. And this is what we're going to add to DigitalOcean. Let's go back here and I'll go add SSH key. I'll paste it in and I'll just say, hey, this is my Mac Mini. And I'll add it. Coming down, we can leave all this the default stuff, and I'll just hit create droplet. So this is going to create an Ubuntu droplet for us, and it's just going to take a couple minutes. Once it finishes, it'll look like this. So let's click into it. And now we can connect via this IPv4 address right here. So let's copy it, and we'll go back to terminal. I'm going to open up a new tab. I'm going to type SSH root at, and then we'll paste in the IP address and hit enter. It's going to say blah, 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 fingerprint. I'll just do yes. And now we're connected to our Ubuntu droplet. So the first thing we're going to want to do in here is upgrade all our packages. So let's start by updating the package lists. So to do that, it's just going to be apt-get space update. And this is going to update all the package lists. And now we're going to actually upgrade the packages by going apt-get upgrade. And this one's going to take a little longer. We'll go yes, we want to upgrade all that stuff. Now it's just upgrading all the packages that are on our system to start with. You get to a screen like this, just hit enter. And I'll just hit enter on this one also. And there we go, it just finished. All our packages are now up to date. So now the next thing we're going to want to do is create a new user on this droplet. So to do that, we'll go add user and we can name it whatever we want. I'll call mine Robbie. And for password, you can enter your password. Then for this part, you can just hit enter through all this. You don't have to enter any information and then just do yes at the end. Now we created a new user. So now we're going to make this a super user. So to do that, we go user mod -a capital G. And we want to add it to sudo. And then just put your username. So now we got a super user called Robbie. So now let's switch to that user using sudo. So we can go sudo -i-u Robbie. Or whatever you named your user. And now we have to add our SSH key from our Mac onto this user's authorized key list so we can connect to it. So we don't have an authorized keys file yet, so let's go ahead and create that. So I'm in my home folder currently, so we're going to create a folder in here, .ssh, and then we'll cd into it, and we're going to create a file with touch, and it's called authorized_keys. And now we're going to modify that file by going nano authorized keys. And now I have the file open. I'm going to go back to my other tab where I have my SSH key. And I'm going to copy it again. And I'll just paste it in. And then I'll hit Control X to exit. And then I'll go yes for save and enter to save the file. So now we have our SSH key stored within this authorized key file. So now we can log out and we should be able to log in with the Robbie user now. So let's go exit to log out of Robbie and exit again to log out of the Droplet. And now we're going to connect again. And this time, instead of root, you're going to put your username. And there we go. I was able to connect from my user. All right. So NextJS is a Node app. So we're going to need Node.js. And I'm going to install that via the Node version manager. So I'll link this repo in the description. This is a package that just lets you install multiple versions easily and switch between them. So we can come here. We'll go to installing and updating. And we just have to copy this line right here. So I'll copy it and then I'll go back to terminal. I'm logged in as Robbie on my Droplet. I'm going to paste in the command and hit enter. And this is going to install NVM for us. Now if we type NVM, it says NVM not found, but all we have to do is type source.bashrc so it updates. And now if we type NVM, we have it installed. So we're going to install the latest version of Node. So let's go NVM install. And we want the latest --LTS version. I'm going to grab the latest LTS version, install it. So it's version 20.12.1. And it's installed. So now if I go node-v, you can see we have it installed and running. So now the next thing we're going to do is install Yarn. Yarn is an alternative package manager to NPM. I like it a lot better. So to get that, it's just npm install -g for global, and we want Yarn. And this is going to go ahead and grab Yarn for us. And then it's also going to say that there's an update to NPM, so we might as well get that too. So let's copy the command it recommends and paste it in. There we go. We got NPM updated. We got Yarn, which we're going to use instead of NPM. Now we're going to install Nginx, which is going to be used to forward traffic to our next app. So to get that, we're going to go sudo apt-get install, and we want Nginx. I'll hit enter, and this is going to ask for our password, so type it in. Now it's going to go ahead and grab that. I'll hit yes, I want to install it. You get to a screen like this, just hit enter. There we go, we got Nginx installed. Next up, we have to configure Nginx to proxy traffic to our next app. So to get to the Nginx folder, you're going to go cd, and it's located in /etc/Nginx, or Nginx. Now we're inside there, we have two folders. We got sites available, and we have sites enabled. Where is it? Sites enabled right here. So let's go into sites available. And if we go in there, we just have the default site right now, but let's create a new one. So let's go nano to create a file and open it. And we'll just call it things. And you can see it says not writable. I forgot to do sudo. So let's go back out with control X. This time I'll go sudo nano things. And then I'll leave this in the description. You can just paste it in. But basically our server is going to listen on port 80. For server name, we're just going to put our IP address right now. So go back to DigitalOcean. You can copy it, paste it in. And this says, hey, just get whatever traffics come in for this IP right here and send it to localhost 3000, which is where our next app is going to be running on this server. So control X to exit, yes to save, enter to save it. And now we have to basically copy or link this file to the site's enabled folder. So it's enabled. So let's go back. And for this one, we're going sudo link, I think S is for symbolic, and we're linking /etc/nginx/sites available/things, which is that file we created. And we're linking it to the sites enabled folder. So let's do that. And now it's linked. So now if I go inside sites enabled, we can see it right there. So we got Nginx configured. Now we want to test it and make sure we didn't make any typos. So we can go sudo nginx. I always say nginx. Nginx -t. That's going to test our configuration, and it goes, hey, it all looks good. So now let's restart. Sudo service nginx restart. We just restarted our service. So now we're ready to copy over our NextJS app to this Droplet. So in order to copy over our code to this Droplet, I'm going to be using Git. And Ubuntu comes with Git by default. You can verify that by just typing git --version. And you can see it has version 2.4. Let's just type cd to go back to our home folder. And now we're going to pull the code with a git deploy key. So go to your repo. Then you'll go to settings. And on the side here, you can go to deploy keys. And we're going to create a new one. So let's go add deploy key. And for title, we'll just call it server. And now we have to actually create an SSH key on our server and paste it in here. So let's go back to terminal. So I'm on our droplet right here. I'm going to type SSH keygen. And it's going to create a key just like it did on our Mac earlier. I'll just leave all the defaults. And now I can print that out with cat. And it's .sh/id._rsa.pub. So here's our server's SSH key. I'm going to copy that. Go back to GitHub, paste it in here, and hit save. And I'm going to leave this unchecked. I don't want our server to be able to write to our repo. Read only. So add key. And now it's added, and now we should be able to pull this repo. So let's go back here. I'll go to code right here, and I'll just copy it. And then I'll go back to terminal, and I'm in my home folder still. I'm going to go git clone, paste in the repo. Now it's going to pull down that code. I'll go yes, it's okay. Now if I type ls, you can see we have our app right here. So let's cd into that. And now we're going to install everything with yarn. So just type yarn, and it's going to install the packages. And there we go. We just installed all our npm packages for our next app. So now if we go to the code here, you can see we have this environment variables file right here. I'm actually going to go in there and copy the database URL environment variable, which is the only one we have. And then I'm going to go back to terminal, and we actually want to remove that file from the code on here. So let's go remove.env. Get rid of that file. And now for production, we're going to create a file with nano. It's going to be .env.production. This is where we can put all our production environment variables. So I'll paste in that database URL, and now this is going to connect to a Postgres database, but we haven't installed Postgres on our server yet, so we'll do that next. So I'll just leave this as is for now. Control X, yes, save it. So now let's grab PostgreSQL. So it's going to be sudo apt get install. And it's going to be PostgreSQL and PostgreSQL-contrib. I'll hit enter. It's going to grab both of those. I'll go yes. If you get to a screen like this, just hit enter. Now we got PostgreSQL installed, so let's switch to the Postgres user with sudo. So let's go sudo -i-u. I want Postgres, which is the default super user for Postgres. Hit enter. And now I'm logged in as Postgres. And now we're going to create a new user. It's going to be create user --pw prompt. And then you can name your user at the end. So I'll just create a user called things and hit enter. And you can enter your password here. You have to confirm it. And now we have a new user called things. And now we're going to create a new database that belongs to this user. It's create-db-o for owner, and it's going to be owned by things. And for a database name, I'll call it things also. Enter. Now we have a user called things and a database called things. And the things database belongs to the things user. So now I'm going to exit out of the Postgres user. I'm back on Robbie, and now we can edit that environment variables file. So nano.env.production. Now it's going to be PostgreSQL :// Our username was things. And you're going to put a colon and then your password. It's going to be on localhost port 5432. And then at the end here, after the slash, you'll put your database name. So mine is things. And then I don't think we need the schema part. I'll just get rid of that. And then let's go Control X, yes, save. All right, so now we have Postgres. We have our environment variable set. And now we're ready to migrate our database. So I'm inside of the app folder right here still. I'm using Prisma, so I'm going to go yarn Prisma generate to create the Prisma client. Then we can migrate our database by going yarn Prisma migrate deploy, and it's going to yell at us right here. It's going to go, whoa, we don't know the database URL. So NextJS is smart enough to use that file, but Prisma is not. So let's actually go back into that file. .env.production. I'm just going to copy all of this. I'll go Control X to exit, and then we'll run this yarn Prisma migrate deploy command again. But before it, I'm going to paste in the database URL like that. Hit enter, and now it's going to create and migrate our database. And now we're ready to build our site. So let's go yarn build. All right, so just finished building my site. Now I'm going to run it to test. So let's go yarn start. And it says it's running on localhost 3000. So now when we visit our IP, Nginx is going to forward it to this running on localhost 3000. So let's try it out. Go back here, copy the IP. I'll just paste it in the browser. And we have our app right here. And I can create things. And it saves. So now we're going to set it up so it'll kind of run our app in the background so we don't have to be logged in running it for it to work. So let's go back to terminal. I'll just go Control-C to stop. And now we're going to set up another thing called PM2, which is a process manager. npm install -g for global, and we want PM2. Now we're going to tell PM2 how to start our app. So I'll paste in the command. You go PM2, and we want it to run start via yarn. And we'll name this PM2 record things. And it's going to run the start. So it's going to run yarn start. So I'll hit enter. Now we have this right here, and it says it's online. So if we go back, our site should still be running. It is. So now we're going to tell PM2 to basically create a record of this. So when we restart our server, it'll automatically start our app. To do that, you just go PM2 startup. Okay, we saved the startup script, and then we want to save again. So just go PM2 save. So the last thing we want to do is connect a domain name to this and enable SSL so we can HTTPS. So this is actually really easy to do. So let's go back to DigitalOcean. You'll go to networking, and we'll go to domains, and you'll have to add your domain to this. You're going to have to change the name servers to point to DigitalOcean. And once you added your domain, you can go into it. And we're just going to add a new record. So I'll host my site at things-next and at codingrobbie.com. And I'm going to point it to that droplet we created, which is this one right here. So create record. So we just create a record that says, hey, take this URL right here and point it to our droplet. So now we're going to update our Nginx config. Go back to terminal, and it was in /etc/Nginx. And we're going to go within sites available. And we're going to go sudo nano, and we called our file things. So now I'm back in that file, and instead of the IP address right here, we're going to paste in our URL, which mine is things-next.codingwithrobbie.com. Control X, Y, enter to save. And then we have to restart Nginx now. So we can go sudo service Nginx restart. There we go. So now if we go to that URL, we should see it. Go. So now we just need SSL, and to do that, we can use certbot. So this automatically gets a Let's Encrypt certificate and installs it for you. So we're on Nginx, on Ubuntu. So they don't have the latest version. I'll just go 20. They give you instructions down here. So our server came with snapd, so we can skip these first steps and just go to number 4 and copy this command. Paste it in. Gonna install certbot. All right, so we got certbot installed. So now we'll come back here, go to the next command, and paste it in and run it. And go back, and we're gonna do this command right here, which is gonna get the certificates for us and install them. So paste it in. And you're gonna have to enter in an email. So I'll just go codingwithrobbie@gmail.com. So yes, I agree. Yes, I agree. And then right here, it asks what domains you want to do it. So I'll just leave it enter. I'll leave it empty and hit enter for all. Now it's going to get that certificate. Got it. Now it's connecting it to our Nginx. There we go. It says it's installed. So let's try this out. Let's go back here. I refresh, and now we got HTTPS. So we're good to go. The last thing we want to do is just enable our firewall. So let's do that real quick. We'll go back. Going to be sudo, and Ubuntu comes with something called UFW, which is a firewall. A UFW app list to see all the available apps, and we need to add OpenSSH and Nginx full. Going to be sudo UFW allow. The first one we want to allow is OpenSSH, and the second one we want to allow is Nginx. We have to put this in quotes because it's 2 words. Nginx full. We just added those 2 rules, and now we can enable it with sudo UFW enable. Gonna go, hey, this is gonna disrupt SSH connections. We'll hit yes. Now if we go sudo ufw status, says it's running, and these are the rules. So what this does is just basically close out any other port. So the only ones allowed are our SSH port and then our Nginx stuff. There we go. We successfully hosted our Next.js app on a DigitalOcean Droplet. So this is good for personal projects, but to be honest with you, it's probably not the best for something production. So all traffic is going to be routing to that one server in San Francisco in my case. You're not going to have a big advanced distributed system like you would on Vercel, but I think this is a great option for personal projects. We could host multiple apps on this one server, by the way. And I hope this video helped you. So make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Use my DigitalOcean link in the description. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.